Hi everyone. So today in the second video on making decisions, I want to talk about wealth, money, power and making decisions. Now, several things came up in the last couple of days that really drove this home to me. One, we're living in a world where all the resources that are available in the world are now known, common knowledge all around the world, easily accessible, and there is more than enough to take care of every human being on the planet and more. And yet we still have extreme poverty, starvation, wars, conflicts, people with tons of money who are sad and miserable, people with tons of money who are really happy too, people without any money who are happy. We've got this world where so many people, both in the developed and underdeveloped countries, so many people that you know in your life aren't satisfied, aren't happy, or lack the resources that they need to have a good life, to even take responsibility for creating a good life for themselves. Now, I'm just going to ask a really blatantly obvious question. How come, with all the resources, distribution systems, knowledge that we have, this is still happening? Why haven't we sat down and just gone, boom, okay, it's going to take 20 or 30 years, sort all this out, but let's get to it. We've got everything we need. If it was a very small community who'd been hit by a flood or an earthquake or some natural tragedy, they'd go, okay, let's sit down and rebuild. So why haven't we done that? And it boils down to one really, really simple thing. To do that is only a matter of making the right decisions. But so far we've been unable to do that. We've got philosophies, outlooks on life, all sorts of incredible things about how, education, about, some people really need financial intelligence, and it just goes on and on and on. All these reasons why it isn't happening, all these philosophies that explain why it isn't happening. But basically, it's just a matter of making some decisions. And we can't do it, or we haven't done it so far. Now, that's one thing. Second thing is, yesterday I was talking to a chiropractor naturopath who I just met yesterday, and he pointed out to me he's very much into natural foods, natural health, all that sort of thing. And he said to me, look, we've been on this planet, or the planet has been growing as a planet for 3.5 billion years. And within that, it's only since World War II, so the last 70 years, maybe, yeah, that this situation of poisoning our environment, poisoning our, how can I put it, our agriculture, all the different, all the pesticides, all the herbicides, all the stuff that we're putting into the ground has really been happening. Now, I know for thousands of years before that, ever since people moved into towns, we've been, living in toxic environments. It's part of, we've had poverty in the Roman Empire, we had diphtheria, black plague, everything you can imagine. But really, it's just, we've been deliberately sort of poisoning the environment on a massive scale only the last 70 years, compared to the fact that the planet's been here for 3.5 billion years. So really, the time that this planet has been messed up on that level has really only been the equivalent, if you took the diameter of the Earth, of 0.7 of a millimetre, I think he worked it out to be. So this world has been happily going along, without toxic chemicals and stuff like that for pretty much all of its lifetime. And I thought at that moment, I went, wow, we've been using our mind for decision making, using, our mental capacities and the gift of our mind for decision making for, maximum, maybe if we really stretch it out, 80,000 years. And basically everything on this planet, every form of life on this planet has been operating without that very successfully for 3.5 billion years. And I mentioned that to him and he joked and said, well, that's probably a few steps or maybe half a kilometre or something like that in the diameter of the Earth. So, and then on top of that, I watched a program today on artificial intelligence. And they're going on about how, knowledge and our ability to work with data and understand what intelligence is and what we think intelligence is versus what it is, we can't keep up with it. Our minds can't keep pace. There's too much complexity happening in the world now for our minds to actually follow on a conscious level. And machines are doing, and artificial intelligence are doing a much better job at doing that, what we think intelligence is. And they went into this whole thing about, artificial intelligence, robots and nanotechnology and biology and the internet all coming together, which will happen and is a really big cutting edge field. And I just looked at it and said, hey, we're a machine. This body, it has a mechanics to it. And this mechanics has been developing over 3.5 billion years because it's part of this whole planet. We are not separate from the thing that we exist on and in. The Earth, we're a part of the Earth. Our body is a part of the Earth. And it's been developing intelligence for 3.5 billion years in this context. And we got to the point where we developed this ability to think and, become conscious of our mind and to bring it into the practical world. And in a sense, as I said in the last video, it bridges the world of beyond this world with this practical world. And we've been using it to make decisions for maybe max 80,000 years. Now, our mind is a very young teenager. Our body is an incredibly well-developed, mature, elder adult because it's part of this earth and it has access to all the levels of intelligence. I mean, in the artificial intelligence thing, he was making a very clear scientific argument that the pen he had was taking in the lecture and just didn't have a way of communicating to us its perspective. That what we call inanimate objects have an inbuilt intelligence of their own. And people have been saying this about the earth and trees and everything for thousands and thousands of years. So here we are making decisions with a part of us that's just growing into teenage, with another part of us that's a mature elder adult as far as this world is concerned, with all the inbuilt levels of intelligence that it has, capable of really grasping what's really going on in this world and how this world is evolving, because this planet has been evolving through incredibly complex levels for billions of years, incredibly successfully. So maybe there's a problem there. Maybe we have access to a level of intelligence that's also maturing and growing as we mature and grow as human beings, that is conscious of what's going on. We have this conscious awareness that we're born with, and it knows how to interact with the world. And then I was thinking about, the whole evolutionary thing and survival of the fittest. And I just realised survival of the fittest is a myth. The world isn't about survival. Survival is a part of what happens. But the world isn't about survival of the fittest. It's about developing and creating new forms that bring better results and that are more aware. It's constantly going, where can we take this to the next level? Hey, this is great. Let's enjoy it. Let's establish it so it survives. Let's enjoy what it actually does. It's great being a dinosaur body. And then we go, yeah, but I mean, it's been great, but I want to go further. And so it evolves into mammals. Let's bring in a meteor. Boom. Okay, that gave us an excuse. We're out of here. Mammals, off you go. I mean, nature is about, when you really, really look at it, evolving and developing new forms of expression, forms that become more aware in unique and different ways. If you really want to look at it, the whole of nature is about enjoying life, and survival is a part of it, because when you get here, you've got to be able to handle the environment and survive in it. Yeah, but they've got big teeth and they chase you and they chew on you. Yeah. Well, that's what we do. With cows, with trees, with fruit. So here we are at this point of incredible evolution where we're on the verge of literally becoming a new species, where we're certainly not what we were 200 or 300 years ago. And the world's become incredibly complex, and we're obsessed with survival. So we want wealth, because wealth, the really attractive thing about wealth is that, well, when you've got it, your chances of survival rise. On the other hand, there's a lot of responsibility that goes with it as well. And money, that's the tangible form, we can survive, we can survive, we can survive. But, wealth can be looked at in a totally different way. Hey, we've got a lot to work with here. And money, hey, here's the clay we can mold, and, we can exchange this and this and this to develop and create this and this and this. And power, the ability to act and the willingness to act. I mean, incredible. I mean, if there wasn't the ability to act, this universe would never have come into existence. It would have never have emerged from wherever it emerged, from what our minds call nothing. I mean, power, what a gift. Wealth, so much to work with. Money, a form of exchanging our energy, which can then, I mean, gosh, we love sex. It's an exchange of energy. It's nice to do business or to give gifts. That's an exchange of energy. Money's a form that facilitates that. That's a cool thing. And then you bring in a whole decision-making process that reduces life down to survival of the fittest, at least at that point in history. And why? Because we went from operating on what we call instinctive levels where we're united and in harmony with the world around us. And then we shifted to making decisions with our minds. We became conscious of ourselves, that we even had a mind or had the ability to think, and a brain with which we could think, and a body with which we could feel, and a way we could integrate those things and feel emotion and be conscious of it, and to look at the world and be self-reflective, and to develop a unique type of awareness rather than a gecko or a bee or an elephant. And that was a great gift and a very, very, very powerful tool. And then we gave it the ability to run our lives. As I've said before, put us under a lot of stress. But like working out at the gym, forced the mind to develop in an incredibly rapid rate. Like someone who's good at football or any sport and then goes into a training camp and it's like work, 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 starts playing at a high level and constantly improves because they're under almost unnatural pressure. You know, competition originally was about bringing out the best in each other. You know, creating that natural challenge and pressure and inspiration and to really go to the next level. But as I've said before, the mind is not really designed for dealing with this life any more than a 13-year-old teenager is designed to take over and run the company that their father built from scratch, which is now an empire, a huge conglomerate, global conglomerate, or an empire that, you know, the king, their father, ruled in the past. A 13-year-old's not ready for it. And you can see this throughout history when young people were thrown into positions like that, some rather bizarre behaviour occurred. People manipulated them in the background, you know, the mothers, the queens, the courtiers, you know, or they just did really bizarre stuff because they're out of their depth. They weren't ready, they weren't mature enough, they didn't have the experience, they didn't build the company from scratch like their father did. So they had to put on a show, pretend they could do it. Occasionally you'd get, you know, someone who really had the gift for it and even did better than their father or their mother or whoever, you know. But fundamentally, it's just like that's what the mind was like. Had to grow up really, really fast. But its prime thing was, how am I going to survive? What strategy am I going to develop? How can I, you know, get rid of all the opposition, eliminate the challenges, get all the wealth, own all the money, build up power. And in the process, power and money and wealth got distorted. It got distorted time and time again. And I'm not just talking about on an empire level. It happens in every single person's life. It happened in my life. You know, if I could just win the lottery, you know, then I'd be, you know, if I made tons of money, then I could do this in my life. You know, if I was really powerful, then all the girls would. You know, it's just, it's not what power is, it's not what money's for, and it's not what wealth is. Definitely not what wealth is for. You know, wealth is to be enjoyed. Money is to be exchanged. And power is to be used responsibly to act and create and drive and lift us into these new levels of expression that life just always constantly reaches for in its evolutionary desire to have fun and to find greater levels of success on all levels. And in the process, establish yourself in the world, survive long enough to enjoy it. Not survive at any cost while you're hating it and on edge and constantly fighting off, you know, assassins and people who are going to, or your money's about to disappear and you're going to be foreclosed and I haven't got enough money to pay the rent. And we created that by making decisions with our minds. All of us. And we've been doing it for a long time, and it gave us a lot of progress and a lot of pain. And if we want to get back to what real wealth is, being able to not only see the incredible resources that we already have, but to be able to really access them and use them wisely, not wisely, but wisely, so everyone benefits and everyone's enjoying life and expressing themselves in their own unique way. And money is just like, hey, this is one way. Then rather than me sharing my work or my energy or my love or my whatever with you, I can give you that, because that just helps facilitate and grease the rails. And and hey, it just means we don't have to carry goats and gold bars around. It's a form of exchange, and when we find better ways of doing it, it'll probably disappear and be exchanged just like it is now, with just numbers on the screen. But it's not an excuse to kill. It's not an excuse to suffer. That's what it wasn't. It was not created for that. And yet so many of us do this. I've done it for so long in my life. And then power. It's not about power over, it's just realizing what a source, what a resource, what depth power is and where it comes from. The source of power has no need to dominate anybody, no desire at all within itself to dominate anyone or anything. It just loves to create because it's fun. And what's the point of being alone when you can have fun together, when you can really enjoy life together, when you can reach for new, more positive, creative, enjoyable ways of expression, where you can look at the beauty of this world and have enough time and space to enjoy it and take it in and be grateful. And that's what making decisions, when we made decisions with our minds, we grew. And we learned about things like strategy and winning and losing and control, but we lost a lot. We lost our connection with the earth. We lost our ability to be grateful. We lost our sense of peace. It was full on. It's like playing a football match, it's just like, oh, it's not time to meditate. I've got to get going. I've got to grab this. I've got to get over to here. But we even lost our enjoyment of that. So people cheat and bang each other in the back and try and fool the referees and, live off the. Oh, come on. Skill is incredible. Developing it, sharing it, taking it to new heights is incredible. And sport is brilliant for that. But all this greed and I've had enough of it anyway, even if other people haven't. And the more I look at working with human design, where I have an alternative way to make decisions, which comes from the wisdom, the ancient wisdom combined with the current evolving, developing wisdom that lies within, my body, and with its connection to the incredible wisdom of this earth, and through that, the wisdom of this universe, versus, living in a little logical cell, trying to figure it all out, scared that you're going to be washed away, when what's knocking on the door is saying, hey, open up and come out and enjoy this and bring your logic with you. It'll fit somewhere. It'll make some sense somewhere. Because you fit somewhere, you make sense somewhere. Since I've been, following this, it just becomes clearer and clearer and clearer. We need a new way of making decisions to even access the wealth that we have, let alone develop greater wealth. To even use the money that we have and appreciate what we have before we even exchange it. And to really understand what true power is. It is such, it's hard to describe, because it's so peaceful, it's so rich, it's so wonderful to be in contact with the source of all power, and to then want to share that with others so they feel powerful. And then from a place of each of us being powerful, we make decisions about how to empower each other and how to take things to a new level. And the mind needs a break. It needs to go back to its original job. It took us through a really interesting learning experience, seriously, where many people where angels would fear to tread. We've been. But now's the time to move on and to come back to that inner authority that lies within us and see how much it's evolved in those last 90,000 years or 80,000 years as well. Because it's evolving. All intelligence, like this guy said on the video on artificial intelligence, he said all intelligence grows logarithmically, not linearly. Things are going exponential at an incredible rate. And that's why making decisions is such an important thing now. Really examining how you make decisions in all aspects of your life, whether you're Richard Branson, the Queen of England, the Pope, or somebody that thinks that nobody knows them, and maybe they don't. But you matter just as much. Or whether you're living an ordinary life in America, struggling to pay your bills, or you're doing really well in your company and you want to do more, take it to the next level, create new forms that are more fun and help more people. Or whether you fish off the Polynesian islands, somewhere, and just really love life. If that's, maybe you do, maybe you don't. With all the plastic out there, who knows? But whoever you are, wherever you are, walking down the streets of India, in Russia, Syria, Africa, South America, we're ready. We're in communication now. We know each other exists. We know what each of these beautiful places have to offer, as well as what their problems are. And with a few out of the box, out of the normal way we've been making decisions for the last thousands of years, if we make decisions in a new way, real obvious, practical, meaningful decisions that take into account we've got everything we need, we just need to manage it and use it and distribute it properly. And make decisions based on that, which is going to blow a lot of the old concepts and ideas and philosophies out the window, but replace them with new and better ones. That's what life does. It always likes to evolve into better, more expressive forms. So yeah, this has been a big picture and a philosophical thing, but I love human design because it gives a practical way of exercising that every moment of every day. You don't have to just philosophize about it. You can go out, if you understand your unique design, you can take that and test it every single day of your life. And if it works, you can exercise it now. I've tested it full on for 7 years. And frankly, the results speak for themselves in my life. It's literally turned my life around and started to move it in the direction I really needed to go, not the one I thought I needed to go. And what it can do for people who are already successful, oh my God, I'd love to see that. I'd love to be a part of that. And what it can do for you if you're struggling, I know it can change that around. But it's going to challenge your mind to back off and relax and get back to what it's really great at doing, which is not making decisions, but visioning, dreaming, observing, measuring, sharing, opening dimensions to other worlds, traveling into the world of imagination, dealing with chaos, drawing in creativity and the dimensions beyond that, which we'll mention in the next video. But if you really want, look, I've given up going for a lot of money. First thing I want to do is I want to learn how to relate to money. What money is, what money I've got, rather than what I think I need to have, and start using that to really enjoy the beauty of life. And doing that has opened the doors for me. Wealth, see the wealth that I'm surrounded with and be grateful for it and let more of it come. And power, knowing that It's within me and within everything. And it's the least dominating thing you will ever come across in your life, true power. And the source of true power, filled with love and the desire to have fun and to enjoy life and, to be more. An incredible thing. And the most practical thing I know that we can do, you and I can do, is change the way we make decisions so we make better decisions. Now, if you want to know more about how human design helps you to do that, we've got that course I've been mentioning, Human Design for Innovators and Entrepreneurs, Course 1. And, I've aimed it for innovators and entrepreneurs because we're the people who'll go out and start the landslide. We'll get things going, in the sense. We'll build the initial structures, we'll pioneer, and then demonstrate to people that it can really happen. That this is real, it's not a fantasy. And it's a practical reality that you can use every day of your life to accomplish right now. So it's been a pleasure talking to you, and we'll see you in the next video.